morning and welcome to 612 ABC Brisbane.
G'day, Madonna. Thanks for having me on.
How are you taking this about your age? Are you feeling as though it's a bit harsh, or are you taking on board that some older people will struggle with your age?
I think I expected this going into it. We always knew that it would be a little bit different. And all politicians have their own things that they have to deal with. I think it's legitimate that people want to ask these questions, and I'm quite happy to answer these questions. At the end of the day, I think what matters is the approach that I actually take to politics.
So let's answer the question about your age, because even Mel Bruff has reported as saying yesterday that you would have difficult connecting to many seniors in your electorate, and there are many in your electorate, and struggle to even gain entry at the Bribie Island RSL. What do you say in response to criticism about your age?
Well, I think anybody is entitled to their opinion, and certainly Mel is entitled to his opinion. And I have great respect for Mel. I mean, he was one of the reasons that I wanted to become involved in politics. He was an inspiration. He was an honest bloke. And he had so much integrity.
You must have been disappointed then at his...
Oh, well, Mal's just entitled to his opinion, and I look forward to actually meeting him and, having a chat about it. And to come back to, talking about my age, I think what is important is my approach to politics. And what I bring is a completely fresh, clean, energised approach to federal politics. And also I bring... a strong ability to listen. I mean, my job is to get out into the electorate, listen to the people in the electorate, and then stand up for them in Canberra, in the community, in the media. And that's something that they really haven't had from my Labor opponents. So if I can do that, that's what matters.
Do you feel a little bit of a burden, though? You not only have to answer this criticism, you then have to go on and win the seat. Many candidates who will be chosen just have to focus on winning the seat.
Oh, it's just part of the game. I mean, it's just politics at the end of the day. And the interesting thing is, if all of this media attention does nothing else other than give me a platform to give the people, the locals in Longman a stronger voice, then why not use it?
Well, that's certainly true. Well, what politician currently in Parliament do you admire most?
I really like Tony. I mean, Tony Abbott is a straight shooter. I mean, you had him on the program this morning, and I just had the biggest smile listening to him.
What do you like about him? What is it about him?
Because he's real. I mean, too many politicians aren't real. I mean, politics has become very disenfranchising. And Tony sort of re-energises that approach, and he gets people interested in politics again by being a real bloke, by telling it how it is, by giving an answer to a question. Do
you think that's something that is inherent in some politicians, or do you think a lot of politicians go in there being real, and along the way that changes?
Oh, I absolutely think, there's it's like any other business. There's different reasons. So a lot of people go into politics with the best of intentions, and what I say is you need the Teflon coating, and you need to go in there to stay true to your values and what you actually got in there for. And I know with me, I'm in there to do one thing, and that's make a difference. So if I can stay true to that throughout my political career, however long that may be, then that's a good thing.
Pretty tough ask, though, particularly when you belong to one of the big parties, and whether it's the LNP or whether it's the Labor Party. Do you answer to the electorate, do you think, or do you answer to the party?
Well, my approach is always answering to the electorate first of all. But the important thing to recognise about the party, and particularly the LNP, my presence here is the product of grassroots democracy at work, and I'm deeply humbled by that experience. I mean, if I was in the Labor Party, we would have seen party hacks in smoky rooms coming in and appointing candidates over the locals. And the good thing about the LNP, the party members are also the locals. So
what happens when you get to Parliament and you're in Canberra and something happens that could really hurt the people of Longman? Do you actually cross the floor? Do you vote for your constituents, or once you accept that pre-selection, and if you are voted in, you then belong to the party?
Well, one of the great things about our party is that you can cross the floor. I think my understanding is in the Labor Party, if you cross the floor, you're out of the party.
Still not thought highly of on your side either.
No, but no, I understand that. I think my job as the federal, potentially as the federal member, is to go out into the electorate and actually listen to the concerns and find what they are. And then take that back to my party room. And part of this happens behind closed doors, where I take the concerns of the people in the electorate back to my party room and have that say. And that's one of the great things about being in a major political party, is that's where you can make the biggest difference.
Yes, maybe, but you're not actually answering the question. Would you be prepared to cross the floor for the people of Longman?
Yeah, on an issue that I would have to accept on its merit, and I would have to go through the detail. I mean, I'm quite open to that idea, but I'm certainly think the LNP are on the right track on most issues, or all issues.
Is there any issue you disagree with the LNP on?
Not at the moment.
What about, there is a debate within the LNP on this ETS, the emissions trading scheme. Do you sit more with the Tony Abbott way of thinking, or the Malcolm Turnbull way of thinking?
Oh, I certainly sit sit with Tony Abbott. I'm really glad that you brought this up because it is something that I'm quite passionate about. Let's look at the two policies. Tony Abbott is fighting climate change through direct action and an incentive-based approach. All the while, Kevin Rudd's, putting a tax on family and small business.
And Malcolm Turnbull would like to.
Well, this is our policy now. And the great thing about Tony Abbott's policy as well is not only does it fight climate change through direct action, it actually invests in the future of our country. I mean, we're talking about putting real investment into green jobs, into innovative Australian technology and Australian jobs. And over the course of the next decades ahead, we're actually going to grow the productive capacity of the economy and fight climate change at the same time.
That's the voice of Wyatt Roy, who's been pre-selected by the LNP for the seat of Longman in the federal election expected later this year. It's 21 minutes past 9. What do you think the role of an MP is?
Oh, I think the role of the MP is to be a voice for the community. At the end of the day, that's my job, is to go out into the electorate, listen to the concerns of the people, and then take that back to the parliament, take that back to the party room, the community, the media. And I see this effectively as a strong form of civil service.
Did you think you would win pre-selection this time around, or did you think it might have been a bit of a bigger obstacle?
Oh, well, I just had to overcome one obstacle like my other candidates had to overcome other obstacles. I went in there, I was judged on merit. I was judged on what I was actually doing and what I was saying and what I'm going to do. And this is the great thing about the LNP. We had local grassroots members there on the night making a judgment.
And what do you think it was that won it for you?
My approach, everyone went into that room with their own personal views, but, my approach to politics is very fresh, very clean, it's energised. And like I said, I went around, as I do with all people in the community, and I listened to these people about their concerns and what they were.
When did you decide you wanted to do this? You wanted to be a politician?
Well, it's interesting. I was always turned off politics a little bit by, how disenfranchising politics is. I mean, it has turned into a bit of a spin game. But the reality, for better or worse, is that this is where you make a difference. And there was that need, and I stood up, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, but when? Were you 15 and you thought one day I'm going to be in Parliament? Were you 18?
No, I didn't wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to be a federal member. There was little, things that happened across the course of time. It was suggested to me by people that probably don't even vote for our party that I join this party because they could see that I had something I could contribute. Interesting, you're talking about Male Bruff before. One of the things that I thought, well, maybe I should get involved. I remember when I was in the Young Liberals at the time, I went to the 2007 campaign launch, and Male Bruff stood up there, and he was, sort of this new politician where you have honesty and integrity, and those are the sorts of things that click in your mind. You sort of think, well, maybe I should step up.
But you were 16 at that stage when you would have gone to that.
17, yeah.
Or just turned 17.
Yeah.
Then did you think one day I'd like to be a politician?
Yeah, I think so. I think one day I'd like to make a difference, and if that means being a federal politician, then this is where you really can make a difference from inside the tent.
How long ago did you finish year 12?
2007.
And so what have you been doing in the last 2.5 years?
After I finished, I had 2 weeks after I finished school, and I travelled. Went overseas and went around Europe, as most people do. I then moved interstate and started studying in Melbourne.
And what were you studying?
There it was international relations, and then I moved back up to Brisbane, continued my studies. I worked in the family business when I came up here.
So in grade 12, when people said, well, what are you going to do? What's your career?
I wanted to fly. I love flying. I started to learn to fly when I was 13.
And he's still taking lessons, or
I wish I had more time to take lessons. I'm looking forward. Actually, the Caboolture Gliding Club is in my electorate, and it's I used to glide there a lot, and I'm looking forward to taking that up if I can.
Look, if Tony Abbott can take up Ironman events, you can take up riding. I think. What's your background? Are your parents dyed-in-the-wool conservative?
No. I come from a family of swinging voters, which is a good thing. It's healthy. It keeps you connected to reality. And I come from a farming family, and that's what I was talking to you about before. I was in the family business, which was farming, and very, connected, community-minded people.
Well, what do your parents think about the idea of you running for Parliament? Are they proud of it? Are they thinking, well, this is a bit unusual at your age? Have they given you any advice?
It doesn't matter how old you are. Your parents are always proud of you if you're out there doing something. So they were. And I think the good thing about me is that they know that I have a bit of a thick skin and I can take a hard knock, so that they feel quite comfortable with that.
So in 10 years, where do you want to be?
Well, I'd love to be the federal member for Longman, I think.
But surely your ambitions don't stop there.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't carry a crystal ball around with me. I'd like to know, I'd love to make a contribution to the team.